Look into my eyes.
Can thermal operate well during summer with high temperature conditions?
That's a very good question. In fact, there's a lot of confusion around thermal cameras during summer situations, or let's say where they say objects might have a very similar temperature than the background. In fact, let me take you to the basics of thermal cameras and what is the thermal camera actually seeing. So it's not just seeing heat. What it actually sees is the heat that is emitted by an object and that is reflected by an object. Now, every, let's say, material has a different way how to emit heat and to reflect heat. And so I'm going to show you an example of a highway. If you see this highway, well, these are our detection zones that just overlay. But if you see it on the background, you would imagine that your, let's say, on ground level, everywhere you have the same temperature because it's on the ground. It's, let's say, with the same sun or the same conditions, same temperature conditions. So you would have imagined that you would have one gray surface. It's not the case. Why is that? Because here you have asphalt. Here you have, or this can even be a little bit different. It can maybe be a little bit more concrete and this more asphalt because I see that there's a separation here. Here you have the line markings that can be made of some type of a plastic, which means that, for example, emitting heat is important, but it's also reflecting a lot of heat from the sky, which is in general a lot colder. So that's the reason why you see here that it's in fact darker, which means that it's colder. So the thing is that although that everything has the same temperature, the reflection and the emission is different for every type of material. So now you actually can see a highway here, and it's not just a blur of gray.
What about electric vehicles?
In fact, the electrical vehicles is a very similar, let's say, explanation. Even though that an electrical vehicle can be exactly the same as a background temperature, an electrical vehicle is made of metal, it's made of glass. You have your bumpers, you have your wheels or your rubber wheels. So in the end, all of those materials will have a different way how they are going to emit the heat and how they're going to reflect the heat. And this makes it always possible, also in case that they would have the same temperature, to still detect those objects in a reliable way.